Hello. It's time for our Wednesday devotional, and I appreciate so much your joining me and listening in today for this devotional thought. Actually, I'm going to share something with you that I shared with my staff last Friday. I try not to do that so the staff people who listen to this devotional won't hear a repeat. But it was so important I thought that I'd share it with you. Most of us don't like to be called old-fashioned. In fact, some of the times, because I have stayed about the same size for so many years, I wear clothing that I've had for quite a few years. And I don't even mind being teased when you think it's old-fashioned, because as long as it's clean, looks pretty neat, I'm okay with that. But old-fashioned is sometimes offensive to people. I remember our auditorium when we came was somewhat dated. The pews were of a color that was dated it back to the 70s, and so we were able some time ago to change that, and the auditorium doesn't look so old-fashioned. But in my reading of Scripture, I find sometimes that old-fashioned is not bad. I want to read to you from Jeremiah chapter 6, verses 15 and 17. Were they ashamed when they had committed abominations? Nay, they were not at all ashamed, neither could they blush. Therefore they shall fall among them that fall. At the time that I visit them, they shall be cast down, saith the Lord. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths, where's the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. I find here three thoughts, and I want to share them with you today. First of all, I find a rebuke that he gives to these people. The rebuke is in verse 15 when he says they were not ashamed, neither could they blush. We live in a time when people talk about things and joke about things that not too many years ago we would not even have mentioned in public. Some things you would never mention around a lady or around girls, and now they're said by girls and by ladies. What a sad situation we have when we can no longer blush. Today, for instance, we talk about gay lifestyles and lesbian lifestyles and things that really bring bad images to our minds, yet they don't cause us to blush. What a sad time it is. Maybe we should get back to the old-fashioned days when we blushed when we heard things that dealt with immorality. So there was a rebuke given to these people. Second thing I see was a request. He said you ought to request for the old days, the old paths, the good ways. Now, I want to remind you that I don't think everything that is old is good and everything that is new is bad. Nor do I think everything that is old is bad and everything that's new is good. So we have to choose the things that are right. But as I consider my life and my age, I look back and many times I long for the good old days when things were simpler. The good old days when we didn't have to deal with some of the things we deal with today. The old-fashioned ways. The Bible said, and we're challenged after being rebuked for not blushing, to ask for the old ways, request the old ways. The result is also found in verse 16 where he says, and ye shall find rest for your souls. Rest for your souls. Isn't that what we want? Sometimes we become so weary, not just physically, not even just emotionally. Sometimes we become weary spiritually. And he says if we will ask for the old ways, if we will get to the point again where we blush at things that we should blush about, we'll have rest for our souls. I thought of that last Friday when we had the service for Bob Dennis. Brother Dennis was elderly. He was 84 years old. And he had asked me several times in the past several months, why doesn't the Lord take me? Why am I still here? Now he's found rest. Perhaps that's a rest for the soul. Now, one other thing if we don't ask for the old ways, if we don't remember the old-fashioned ways, if we aren't ashamed to be called old-fashioned when we do things differently than they do today, we can be rebuked like these people were. After he had challenged them to ask for the old ways, he said, if you do, you'll find rest for your souls. Then he said this, but they said, we will not walk therein. My friends, we have a choice. We're going to walk in the old-fashioned ways, or we're going to change our ways. I'm not opposed to wearing new clothes. I'm not opposed to new styles. But I am opposed to doing the things that are not pleasing to God. As we consider new things and new ways, let's ask ourselves if they're pleasing to God or not. Maybe it's okay to be old-fashioned. God bless you. Have a great day.